Let's take a look at Zepla's video. Would Final Fantasy XIV be better without hard content? I mean, with a title like this, I'll tell you right now, I personally don't think that Final Fantasy XIV would be better without hard content. I mean, for instance, Ultimates. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to do Ultimates or not. We'll see. It's something that I'm sure that most people in the static would like to try. But if even you think back just to Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, when we got Fatalis, I specifically said, I don't care if I never beat this boss. I just like the fact that it's there because it's a challenge, and I think that's cool. So that's the way that I feel about it, about a lot of these things. I don't care if there's content out there that is so hard that I'll never be able to do it. I think it's important for the people that do enjoy it. And that's kind of like where I land with that kind of stuff.
There's something I really wanted to address, and that is the fact that I've actually seen a fair number of people say, why do we even need ultimate raids? Why do we need ultimate in this game? Ultimates are content that a tiny fraction of players will even try, and even fewer people will even actually manage to clear the content successfully. So with that in mind, what is the point of making something that so few people will even have a chance to personally enjoy in the game? Like, you can see where some people are coming from with that. Like, would 14 be better without ultimates? But
I think that this actually reminds me a little bit of the Elden Ring argument of it's like, there's nothing wrong with adding an easy mode. And I keep feeling like these people miss the point.
Obviously, you know what I think about that, and that is absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I think people don't fully understand why ultimates are good, besides just giving like super hardcore players something to do, right? And so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the concept of a Halo product, a Halo car, for example, like from giving you an example from the car world. So you might be familiar with a little company called Toyota. Well, Toyota is a company that's given us the Corolla, the Camry, the RAV4, probably the most boring and common, the most uninspired cars on the whole planet. But once upon a time, actually back in year 2000, the CEO of
Year 2000,
Toyota, he was sitting in a bar with an automotive engineer named Haruhiko Tanahashi. And he asked Tanahashi what he would want to see in a car. What would his dream car be? And Tanahashi said that what he wanted was a true sports car. He talked about the concept of Jinba Itai, which means it's like horse and rider, like the union of the horse and the rider, which is now a Mazda slogan, by the way. And Toyota really liked this idea, and after about a year of planning together, they came up with the concept of the Lexus LFA. Now, Lexus is Toyota's luxury brand. And so they, from the ground up, designed the LFA as the Halo car for Toyota, meaning something that would represent the brand and become an icon, like something that would be truly remarkable, something that would never be forgotten, something that would leave a mark on the industry and like be revolutionary. So after 10 years of development and a full redesign, it took like $1 billion for them to make this car. In the end, Toyota sold like 500 of them, and over a period of 10 years, and each car sold for like $375,000. Toyota lost a lot of money on this project, and it was very high development costs. Okay, the selling price of the unit of each unit didn't even cover the manufacturing cost because it was such a ridiculous project. So, I mean, from a monetary standpoint, you would say, well, what was the point of doing that? Wasn't that a failure? They lost money on something they poured time into and money into for 10 years. That's not good, right? But actually, no, not really.
Hey, what is this? What does this car look like? I'm actually curious. I don't know if she shows it. You said it was called LFA? This thing? I mean, that's a good looking car. That is a good looking car. It's not my favorite looking thing in the world, but it's a good looking car for sure. So they've done something cool. Just a good looking car. Whether or not, I don't know how good it is in terms of performance, how good it is in terms of, just as a car, but
Actually did live up to the concept of Jinba Itai. Like, it was the pinnacle of Toyota engineering and innovation. And it actually did become an icon. This is a legendary car. And it is beloved by car enthusiasts. It's just something that people who are passionate about cars will never forget. And so Tanahashi managed to create something that was remarkable, something that will always, always be talked about by, the nerds and the geeks that are part of that fandom. They actually made the Halo car. They actually did it at the peak of Toyota's engineering. So I'm saying all that to say that the Halo product is something that challenges developers to pour their all into something that is super cool, that will be loved and adored and cherished by the people who care about it the most. And yeah, maybe there are people who are not enthusiasts, who might not understand why the LFA is such a great car, or why Ultimate is so hard, or what those mechanics are even about, or what they even mean. But people like me, or people that are progging Ultimate, progging the world race, who are out here like blazing with excitement for this incredible marvel of design, of rating design, that is what really ends up capturing the hearts and minds of people, and that's what draws everyday people in.
It's aspirational
the
content
thing that we're all excited about, that draws people into the brand or the product or whatever it might be. So you have to take care of those people that are the most devoted to your craft, and in the process to refine that craft, like, it's just to drive innovation. Yeah, it's the Mount Everest of content. It's like to push the limits of what's normally practical or achievable that you normally think about in day-to-day content and providing to the day-to-day people. Just go way beyond that and create something that's truly unique and cool and hard in the case of an Ultimate Raid. So while also at the same time you're showing off what the devs, what the manufacturers are actually capable of doing.
They're showing off their craft,
talent to the fullest degree, and all of their creativity. Is the ultimate advertising for a game or a product. I mean, yesterday on Twitch, Final Fantasy XIV had 100,000 peak viewership, which is like crazy.
That's
numbers
a lot
outside
for
of a
14,
live letter.
yeah.
And that's because of all of the hype built up by the people actually progging this, the people actually covering it, because it's incredible to people that are passionate about this that they were able to go all out, right? And the players have to go all out. Everybody does. So I feel like this talk about Ultimates being a time sink for developers, and it was a waste of time because only a tiny percentage of the player base does it. It's actually kind of reminded me also about how some people say, oh, well, it's a waste of time to spend money on space exploration because Earth has plenty of problems that need fixing right now. And without all of this space
that is also
talk and all the money
dumb.
that people are wasting on NASA, like all that should go to the problems here and not some distant dream that's far off. But like, another thing that people forget is that in the process of this kind of stuff being created,
we've gotten a lot of technology that would have not been possible had we not devoted it to space exploration.
Trickle-down effect of all kinds of other ideas that are born from that process. Like, are you using a wireless headset right now? Are you using a computer mouse?
I am.
Using a camera phone?
Yes.
Athletic shoes, workout gear, I think power tools.
No, none of that.
Like, you literally go on for days
those.
and days and days talking about stuff that we use every day that came out of the space race, that came out of the innovations that were necessary to go where no man has gone before, like to go far and beyond and to innovate. So I feel like the time developers spend creating these new kinds of mechanics and being creative about content in extreme settings gives us stuff that we have never seen before, and it will benefit the game as a whole because they'll remember, remember
Most
that limit
definitely.
cut thing like we've started to see. Sometimes you'll see like ultimate mechanics pop up in other places, and so like I said, I think it does have trickle-down benefits for the rest of the game. New mechanics, there's harder mechanics, new puzzles, like things that push the players, and it just, I think overall it does provide players with more content by stimulating the creativity of the developers, and it gives us, of course, the ability to showcase the game in a way that
1,000%
doesn't make
agreed.
it seem like just every other MMO. Like, it doesn't make it just blend in with all the others and a myriad of other MMOs that exist. But it's like, wow, but look at what's going on in there right now. Isn't that just so crazy and so difficult? Like, it captivates your mind to see something like Ultimate World Race go on, to see like people being, not only the devs being challenged to create it, but the players being challenged to go through it in a way that you'll never see in another game. This is unique to Final Fantasy XIV. I think Ultimate is it's the Lexus LFA of Final Fantasy XIV. It's the space exploration of Final Fantasy XIV. So I think that it's something that it generates excitement for the brand and reinvigorates people's love and interest and passion for the brand. And it makes content creators and people who are super devoted, gives them something to really sink their teeth into. I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I could go on and on about other Halo products, but yeah, I mean, Ultimate is a Halo. It's a Halo car. It's a Halo product of Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, thinking back to,
That is a really good comparison.
you know, having something that seems like so pie in the sky and so cool and so exclusive. It's just, it makes you want to strive for it. It makes you want to just at least go down that path.
Like back in the day in World of Warcraft, to me, this was, I mean, when I initially started playing, it was Molten Core. I would always look up videos and stuff of people doing Molten Core, and I'd be like, man, wouldn't that be awesome? And Molten Core is not even that hard. Back then, it was hard because people didn't know what the hell they were doing, right? But like nowadays, you look at Molten Core, and it's like, psh, whatever, dude. Molten Core is easy. But like back in the day, Molten Core was something that I always aspired to. I never got to do it. I mean, I never got to do it in vanilla. I eventually, they did an event at some point. I don't remember if it was, which expansion it was. I think it was during Warlords. I don't remember, but like during an expansion, they did an event where they brought it back, and I went and I did it, and it was like, oh, this is actually pretty easy. But yeah, then I also did it like when my character grossly overleveled it because I farmed Thunder Fury for a long time, but I was always fascinated when I initially started playing WoW with Molten Core because it was something that, you know, required a big team, required coordination, required a big guild, and I never got to do it.
You know, I remember playing vanilla WoW and being captivated by the idea of legendary weapons back in the day, or even seeing epic weapons on somebody. Like if I inspected somebody and I saw epic gear on someone back long ago, I remember feeling super impressed by that.
She instantly brought up WoW and
I want to get
legendary
into
weapons.
raiding too, and actually, I think that's why I got
there you go.
inspired to raid originally. Was because I was like, wow, that's so rare and cool, and I could maybe do that. Like,
oh my
God,
God,
people
dude!
actually will do that, and that's what's so neat about it. I think my favorite thing about it is we're all rooting for each other to be the fight, and that's the beauty of Twitch as well. Like we're all part of it, and we can all get in on it, even if we are not like personally bashing our heads against the wall for 16 hours a day. You can still be part of the race by just watching it and enjoying it and talking about it and speculating about mechanics and stuff. It's super exciting for the whole community. Ultimately, it's a sandbox game. You need to have content for every type of player. I don't think that they are in a situation right now where they have to choose one over the other, first of all.
Yeah.
And the second thing that, in light of that, adding on to what I just said, because I will say, whenever we had the COVID pandemic and they had to cut content, Ultimate is what got cut, by the way, and got pushed back because they had to decide, we are strapped for resources right now. We're dealing with the COVID pandemic, and now we have to decide between putting Ultimate right now or putting the stuff for most of the players right now. And guess what got cut? It was Ultimate that got pushed to patch 6.1. So when they do have to make that decision, they will make the one that is going to benefit the most people, like directly. But I don't think that they're always going to be in that position, because usually I think they acknowledge the things that I've said. Like they understand the role of Ultimate as this Halo content and the purpose that it serves for the game. And another thing that I want to say too is how can I put this? Another example, I'll just do this really quickly. I'm not going to go on a huge tangent about the R8, but another example of a Halo car was the Audi R8, and this was a car.
Zepla's really into cars, huh?
People interested in the Audi brand before they released the R8. Audi used to be considered a second-rate, like we have BMW at home type of brand back in the 90s.
It was.
But then they released this incredible Halo car, the R8, which got everybody interested, everybody hyped about the Audi brand. And but they at the same time, they also had other cars for people that were more practical. Like they had the a coupe that they released at the exact same time. They released an SUV like a year later. And the point was
the R8.
Get people hyped, get people excited about the R8, get them into the showroom. And then once they're there, it'd be like, oh, people will be like, oh, well, maybe I can get this. Maybe I can do this other thing. Maybe I can afford this other thing. Maybe I can do this or that instead. Like maybe you see where I'm going with this already and relating it to how this Ultimate works for Final Fantasy XIV. And that the idea of the Halo product is not just to be successful on its own, but also to make the entire brand appealing, to get people in the door, to make people say, wow, that looked really cool. Maybe I'll try Final Fantasy XIV. And maybe I won't do Ultimate, but maybe I'll try an extreme trial, or maybe I'll do Savage, or maybe I'll level, or whatever it is. You know, maybe I want to get in on this in my own way. Look how cool that thing is in Final Fantasy XIV. Maybe I will consider playing Final Fantasy XIV myself now, because look, they are popping off right now. Obviously, I'm impressed, and I want to get in on it in my own way. So I think that's another function of the Halo product for a brand, and that's what Ultimate serves for the community. And so that's why I think it's really important. I think it drives innovation. I think it gets people in the door. And I think it feeds your most loyal fans. It's like, it's this beautiful, like a marvel of design that the most hyped and enthusiastic people in your community can be excited about, and then spread that excitement with other people. So it's all good. Like, I don't see any reason why, I really don't see any valid argument for why there shouldn't be Ultimate. The only one would be maybe this situation with COVID where they suddenly had way less resources and they had to make do. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about like normal operations and how you normally want to run your company.
So, like I said, to me, it's also aspirational content is something which is also what Zepla said about World of Warcraft, how she would watch people raid and how she would watch like legendary weapons and stuff like that. And she'd be like, oh man, I want that. And it's kind of that. People watch it and they'll think to themselves, man, wouldn't it be awesome if I could do that? And it acts as a motivator. So not just as something that could potentially introduce new players with the splash effect that it has when you do the world first race and all of that stuff that has been happening over the last couple of days, but also for people that are in the game and maybe they're just a little bit more casual and they look at the Ultimate and like, oh my God, that looks so cool. I want to do that. I want to go do raid savages and do extremes and do all of these things. This is insane. And that is really cool. Those make me kind of interested in the game. Now, yeah, see, there you go. It's that simple. And just know there's already 3 other Ultimate encounters besides the one that is there, which is Ultimate Coils of Bahamut. Wait, is it Ultimate? Ultimate Coils of Bahamut? I think it is Ultimate Coils of Bahamut. It's UCOP. You have the Ultima Weapons, Ultimate... Is it Ultima Weapon? Ultima Weapon, Ultimate Refrain, or whatever the hell it's called. Then there's the Epic of Alexander, which is T. And now there's DSU, Dragon Song Ultimate. So, yeah. UCOB, Uwu. Oh, it's Unending Coils of Bahamut. UCOB, Uwu, and T. Those are the 3 Ultimates.
I really wanted to...
Make sure to hit that video with a like, guys. Like I said, I linked it in chat already. And if you're watching on YouTube, always remember there's links in there as well. And yeah, good video. Good talk.